Hi everyone, I'm Josh. Welcome today to my channel for a new unhaul. I am in the process of moving yet again, but I'm back in the States, and with that I can return to my collection of books. And in the process though, I want to reevaluate all the books that I have and decide which ones I want to keep, which ones I don't want to keep. And this is basically an unhaul of all the books from my physical collection that I am deciding to get rid of. Some of which I've actually read. So this is the first for me, getting rid of books that I've already read and decided not to own anymore. Without further ado, let's get into the unhaul. Okay, so here are all the books sorted. I think I already told you this. You have to excuse that I'm wearing acne cream. Well, this is everything. These are the ones I'm definitely getting rid of. So let's start with this stack of books of things that I actually am interested in, but really I'd only be reading them because I own them, not because they stand out. One of this is going to be getting into a lot of thrillers. A Good Marriage, I don't know, a book in a month. Did I get that from there? I don't know. Thrillers tend to be cheap. That's Grossman. Pretty sure this was a book outlet buy from years ago. Look, I may actually read this, but I'll get a new cover if I do, and I just am not interested in it enough to care to keep it. If I read it, it would just be because I'm compelled to have something easy and fun, because I love the show. What Is Not Yours by Helen Oyemi, an author who I've found some value in, but I find myself extremely hesitant to pick up her work because they're not always the most accessible to me. So I'm getting rid of most of her works. Tangentially, Martha Wells, The Cloud Roads. This doesn't seem to be a book outlet buy. I think I just bought this because I like Martha Wells's Murder by Diaries. Maybe I'll read this, which I'm pretty sure is the first of a series she has. But again, it's one of those things where, you know what, I'll read it if I feel compelled to. Right now, it's not something keeping on my mind. Asking for it, I'm pretty sure this is a gift by my sisters, and it's not that I'm not interested in this book, which is the case with a lot of these books. It's more that there's nothing about this book that stands out of my mind. I would only read it because it's on my physical TBR, and it's just there are a lot of books that talk about this type of topic when it comes to feminism, rape culture, and those type of experiences. And I guess the question is, you're just thinking about this that stands out to me, and not really. As I look for books that sort of topic, I might still gravitate back towards it. It would be the audiobook, in which case if I really like it, I'll buy a physical copy again later. Black Holes and Multimedia Universes, I don't know, this seems to be just a used copy of some Stephen Hawking book. Same idea. Natalie Haynes, I like some of her works, but I've given up, I think, on my interest in Greek retellings for the most part. There's some caveats there. I don't know, like part of me still wants to read this, and maybe I will one day feel compelled to, but I'm just getting rid of books with my TBR that really just don't appeal to me that much. Human Instinct, another book that is a topic I'm interested in. It's science, evolution, and just human behavior, but this is one I've almost certainly got from Book Outlet, and I would just read it because it was accessible, because it was there, on my shelf, not because it's one of the books on this topic that stands out to me. I'm really trying to reorient myself on books that I'm compelled to read because I'm interested in them, not because they just happen to be something I saw. The Tangled Tree, the same idea, another nonfiction science book that just stand out to me. The Best Laid Plans, a book that is, I don't know, historical or general fiction. It's Canada Reads, and I'm just giving up, acknowledging the fact that I'm generally not that compelled to read Canada Reads. I may occasionally pick up a Canada Reads book, but it'll be in the moment. I don't want them on my shelf, compelling me to read them. It just leads to bad experiences all around. The Invention of Anna, honestly, I have no idea why I have this. It's Book Outlet. Yeah, probably it was popular. I'm just not interested at all. This is one that I might be compelled to read. I think it's YA, and I'm debating how much I want to keep in my YA collection. I think I've heard this was a compelling book, but ultimately I decided to get rid of it. It's one that I could keep, but I'm in a position to where I could easily access it if I really wanted to read it. There are other books I'm keeping that are mental health related. Now we're getting to books that a mix of books that are on my TBR, were on my TBR, were supposed to be on my TBR. This one is one that I've actually read, but I'm getting rid of more books that I've read to keep my collection down. Zombie by Darren Shan. Someone I've talked about before. This book came out at the tail end of my childhood, of my teenage years, and I was losing interest in Darren Shan, and I'm just not that compelled. This book is extremely unexceptional, which frankly a lot of his books are, and his other ones, though, have sentimental value. This one does not. The Odyssey, if I read it, which I'm sure I really want to, eventually I'll get a copy. I don't know why I have this random copy here. Dolly, a picture and written book. It smells great. I don't know why I get this. This doesn't interest me at all. I love Dolly, but no, thank you. It's not. I don't need that. Going back to books that I'm interested in, but really don't need this version of. These are all books by authors I like. Shauna McGuire, her Encrypted and Encrypted series, and then Martha Wells, another series by her. These things interest me, Shauna McGuire more than this one, but if I get to them, I get to them. And once I read them, I'll look into buying physical copies. Now we're getting into more books that I'm interested in reading. Like, there's something about these covers, and I feel like I've heard about this author before, Samantha something. It just seems surreal, and it does appeal to me. The truth is that it's just the covers that appeal to me, and there's something about this that has existed in the ecosystem of the books that I'm interested in. How do I put this? For the last 2 years, I've not been around these books. So I've been instead picking up the books I want to read based off of lists that I can find, things like that. And these haven't been on my radar at all, which in my mind means I should be owning them. I need to focus on books that are my own books that I genuinely have a passion for, independent of just owning them. That's how I'm trying to think about this right now. Okay, we have One Beat at a Time by Beverly Little Thunder. I know that I say this, I know they're queer. They may be genderqueer, I don't know. I might look into this again, I'm not sure. But it's just one of those things where there are so many books out there, and that one just isn't necessarily particularly called to me. I'm not sure why I bought it. I think I heard about it in an obscure situation. But the Book of Magic, I'm mildly interested in this. What is this? Why is this in here? But it's one of those things that there were a lot of books like this. And I'm also thinking, if this is a book that doesn't really appeal to me, and it seems almost just like another stand-in of a certain genre of books, while also as being a newer book in my newer mindset, I try to gravitate towards more backlist books. It's like, why am I owning this? If I read it, but I don't need to own it. Let's just go ahead and jump through more thrillers. We have Karen Slaughter, and we have Ruth Ware. Thrillers just aren't for me. I might occasionally pick them up just because they seem easy enough, but frankly, I don't need to own them. Honestly, I'm contemplating I want to get rid of most of my thrillers, even the ones that I've read. Guns, Germs, and Steel. I just there's a lot of misinformation in this, so if you want to hear more about that, just ask in the comments. Lovers and lovers, this stuff means nothing to me, so goodbye. Now let's get into some unhauls that will start to bleed into books I've actually read. Okay. It's gonna be fun. I haven't read this, but it's an Ellen Datlow collection. She does horror collections. Usually they're themed. This one is the end of year or some decade or something, I'm not sure. I have a lot of collections by her I want to read, is the short of it, and general collections are not on my radar. 2 books I'm interested in reading, because I want to read all of Toni Morrison's books, as well as this classic book, Clockwork Orange. They're just 2 editions that don't really call to me, and they don't really match other books in the general genre of other Toni Morrison books or other classics. Women in Science, it's fine, it's not a book that really fits into my larger collection, and I think I can skip it to someone else who might get more value out of it. Charles Dickens, one of the oldest books that I own. I got it from Barnes & Noble. I've tried reading these books, and I think I read a couple. I'm just not that into Charles Dickens. Maybe one day I'll try again, feel inspired to endeavor in his backlist, but as it stands, I don't need this, and I don't feel compelled to continue. Secret Life of Bees, a book I've read, and I remember nothing about it. By Afterlife Polly Chase, an unexceptional book that was perfectly fine. I'm in this position to where I'm trying to think of myself, I want books on my shelf, not just that I want to read, the books that I've read, and I have something substantive about it to say. You don't have to have liked it. It could be like a critical discussion, or it could be a topic that I feel like is at least interestingly explored or something, and it doesn't belong there. This is a little bit different. This is the sequel to another book in a trilogy by A.J. Hackworth, who is queer, and so I think that pulled me into this, and I do love supernatural horror and books, but I really do not feel this series, and while I read this book, for me, I think it's enough to have the first book in my collection, and just to be able to show, I read that, I tried it, but it's also just it's one of those things where if I'm going to be incomplete, I might as well just have the first one. It almost feels more symmetric to have one of the three instead of all two of the three. Night, the first of the Night trilogy by Eli Wiesel. I always get that name wrong. I just want the whole collection, so I'm going to buy a collection that's 3 in 1. A nonfiction book that I read, I think in college actually. It's just nothing about it that care about why we believe in God. I'm not even sure I remember anything from it. It's just it's necessarily need to fit in my collection. Historical fiction, a book that was perfectly fine, but in my mind completely unexceptional. I just have no interest in this on my shelf or thinking about it, talking about it with people. Another one, of a book that I'll get a different edition of if I really want it. Oh, this one is nice. I don't think I've actually read this yet. No, I'm reconsidering this one too, actually. Reason in the Sun. I think I've at least watched the play in high school. It's one of those things where I get a different edition, maybe in a collection or something. I just don't need this really small one. Colson Whitehead, Zone 1. I'm almost certain I read this. It was unexciting, uneventful. Alice Walker, The Color Purple. I just like this edition. Very good new one. Illuminati, the first of a series that people seem to love on BookTube that I found extremely uneventful. Just not, so I mean, I didn't hate it, but the more removed I'm from it, the less I give a shit about it. And it's just, I don't care. Strange Exit, which was a NetGalley book that, again, was a extremely dull sci-fi, YA sci-fi. I'm just, again, trying to move away from all new books just because I read them. I want to have more of a reason to own them. The Silence of the Girls, a book that I think I actually really enjoyed when I read it, but just more meh on Greek retellings in general. And I also just heard a critique discussing the Greek retelling, and specifically Pat Parker, that just seemed exposes the level of shallowness in her and other writers' focus on, say, women that I don't love. Natalie Haynes could also have the same set of her, but I don't know, I personally at least had a better experience reading one of her books. Now let's go through these books, because these are books I've debated getting rid of, and I can just show you, like, here are a stack of nonfiction books that I'm not sure I want to keep. And let's decide now. Bossy Pants. I read this so long ago. You know, why not? Why not keep it, actually? This is nonfiction. End of Time. I think I DNF'd this. I didn't love this, but you know, it is a fascinating conversation point. So I am keeping that. The Girl from Nowhere. One that a NetGalley memoir that didn't mean much to me. I think when it comes to nonfiction books, I'm just going to tend to gravitate towards keeping them, generally speaking. Maybe I don't know much about it. Some science book. Actually, 2 science books. There's a science history, a book that I didn't love. Lifting Titanville is by someone that I know, and I am a Titan scientist. And it's fine. So I definitely want to keep that. I don't know why I put that in that stack. After Trump was one that was not bad. It feels almost meaningless at this point. Is it ever going to be after Trump? I don't know. Still, nonfiction, I'm inclined to keep it. The Light Ages was a dull read for me, but again, it's history and science history, and I don't know. I like having it on myself. I like having my science collection buffed out. Eleanor, the Early Years. I think I'm going to get rid of this, but mostly because it's a trilogy, and I think I'd rather just buy all 3 once I read all 3. This I read over 10 years ago when during my atheist phase. I don't know. Do I want to keep this? I don't particularly want to keep this, but why not? I definitely have a list of books that have to do with atheism. So if you ask me, I don't want to keep this. It's just Betty White's books don't feel much like real books. They're just so short, and they just feel like cash grabs, to be honest. Nothing much of substance there. Sotomayor. This is like a memoir that doesn't mean much to me. I don't know. I kind of want to still keep it. I don't have a good reason for it. Yes, please, Amy Poehler. I feel like if I'm going to keep Bossy Pants. Did I keep Bossy Pants? I did. I don't have to. Well, I didn't physically read this. I just listened to it. And, you know, fuck me. I don't really know. And sometimes making content makes me so anxious because I don't have a good reason to do anything. It makes for terrible content to hear me say, I don't know what I want to do here. Why not? It's visually appealing. If there's ever a reason to own a hard copy of a book, why not that one? Let's see. Oh, get rid of these for sure. No, keep this one. Let's see. Hate You Give, which was a good book, honestly. It's just, I'm less inclined to keep most of my YA collection. I don't know, it's just not something I necessarily need on my shelf. Surrender Your Sons, one that I felt like was very mid and unmemorable. We Are Satellites, also unmemorable. I like the cover, to be honest. Just it was an art that I read. Like Crouch's Pines, I read this and I didn't love it as much as I hoped to. After reading Dark Matter, it goes all the way down. Sorry, John Green, but you're not for me, and I don't need you on my shelf. I've read all those, and it's perfectly fine. And there are 3 here that I was debating on getting rid of, but I'm not ready to get rid of my no game of books, to be honest. And I don't know. This series isn't done, and this book was meh, but it's a cool idea, so I'll keep the book. Going back to the topic of reading books because they're on my shelf instead of because they're the books I think are the best on a topic. And it's not that these 3 books that have to do with weight and race aren't important, it's just that there were a huge collection of books I want to read. And maybe one day I'll decide to read these, but I think I'm going to gravitate towards these over books that I think I would rather, that I'd get more out of, because they're on my shelf, hence me wanting to get rid of them. And I bought this a while back. I'm not that interested in hearing about her life. It's sort of like there are only certain figures I want to read about, and she's not my congressperson. And I remember buying it, I think, because there were like negative reviews on Goodreads, and I just kind of cringe on all that. And I'm not gonna read it. I'm not that interested, and I don't want to make myself doing it just to save face on doing something cringy online once. That's the truth of it. I don't think I've read Jane Eyre, but I don't love these editions of Emily Bronte and Charlotte Bronte. I read Wuthering Heights, it's perfectly fine. I may one day buy Wuthering Heights. I guess it would fit into my gothic classical set, but I don't like the edition, so it can go. More books that I found uninspired or just not interested in keeping. Little Women is actually a really nice edition. I wasn't excited enough to keep it, and I'd rather have, I don't love the size, even though it looks cute. Warcross, another series of a book that just did not stick out to me. A lot of these I read because of YouTube more than anything, to be honest, and I'm just getting more comfortable in my own identity. Book by, Nettie Okorafor. It was a cute book, just not something that really stuck out to me. Before the Coffee Gets Cold, mediocre book. Dear Morton, a perfectly fine book, but just one that doesn't really call out to me have on my shelf, to be honest. The Screw Table, I don't know. Okay, Screw Table Players I thought of getting rid of because I don't like C.S. Lewis, which is Christian side, but I read this in high school, and now that I think about it, this is like a sentimental, this is fiction, not nonfiction. As I Lay Dying, I read this in high school as well. I'm pretty certain I have a different edition, I think that's why I'm getting rid of this. If not, I'll buy another one. Let's see. The Book of Lost Things, I feel mid about, but I think I might keep it. It's a nice cover. Charlie Jane Anders and Cory Doctorow have 2 other books that I've read, actually more than 2 for Charlie Anders, but I just didn't love these, and so it don't be on my shelf. Let's go Speed Things. I'm getting rid of so many more of these than I thought I would. I thought for sure I was going to back out of it. An Ocean of Minutes. Ooh, do I want to get rid of this? Time travel that I found uninspired, but I like keeping my time travel collection. Another maybe. It's another maybe. These are going to fall for sure. Darker Shade of Magic, the first of a series that I found uninspired. I really wanted to like this so much, and I do like some of her works. Just not this one. The Witch Heart, another mythological fiction retelling that just didn't stand out to me. It did not stand out, even though this is a beautiful cover. Another first of a series that I'm not going to continue. I'm not interested in. Perfectly fine book. Honestly, it was kind of compelling. Just again, I'm finding myself less drawn to a lot of YA books. Another YA, first of a duology, but sorry hankering, it just wasn't for me. I had so many problems with this. I didn't hate it. I said like small quibbles, was that the word for it? The true test of if I keep those books I set aside is if I remember which ones they are now that they're all mixed together again. I don't think my advisor will watch this. She got me this. She really wanted me to read Jane Austen. And I have. It's just not for me. Kind of like Charles Dickens, but I'm still not sure if I want to get rid of it. So put that in another maybe pile. Queenie, a book that I liked at the time. I should just keep it. I know I really liked it at the time. Birth of the Sea, I actually really like that. Children of Blood and Bone, not a series I'm going to continue, and not a series I actually own. And now more booktube books that I've read that I just don't think I feel that strongly about, that I don't want to keep. It's the kind of thing that people see it on my shelf. They're going to want to talk about it. Sorry. If someone wants to talk about books and they see something like this, and this is the thing that they talk about, instead of something else that I feel much more passionate about, it almost feels like I'd rather just not be on my shelf. I know it's a weird situation to imagine in my mind, but that's honestly kind of what's driving me here. I really should reread this because I love it at the time, and I just have gotten lower on it after hearing certain critiques of it on BookTube, but I'm going to keep this one actually. Basically, all my thrillers, do I want to get rid of these? I honestly do not know. Oh my god. I just feel uninspired by these. Like, I've read them, but do I want to keep them? I don't even like this guy. Farley Sager, I honestly think he's so mediocre. It makes me enraged at how popular he is. I don't know. Like, I really liked Will on Fire when I read it, but how much of this is like enjoyment versus like, it's hard to separate sometimes my feelings versus what I feel like I'm supposed to be feeling. And I just don't always trust my feelings of myself early on BookTube. I don't know if that makes sense, but I really don't know if I trust that I like something. I feel like I like the Chalk Man. I don't fucking know. I want to put this to the side for now because I'm not ready to get rid of all of them. I guess it's too hard. I can't get rid of those books. Part of me wants to keep my thriller collection, to be honest. That turned into like 30 minutes. That's much longer than I thought it would be, but that's a decent amount of books I'm getting rid of. You can count them. Rewind and count that if you want. I'm not going to do it. Of course, I'm keeping plenty more as well, if you can see that. I don't know if this is going to be a video or how I'm going to make it. I'm so tired and uninspired. But maybe this is a video into itself. Who knows?